It's now 2024, and I want to make a video ranking my top 10 most surprising movies of 2023, where not necessarily some of the best, well, I'd say some of the best, but some of them are in my top 10, are in my top 10 favorite movies, and some of them I just had a really fun time with. So the number one spot is not my favorite movie of the year, but it's just the ones that I am most surprised by. And coming in 10th place is Dream Scenario. This is also one of my favorite movies of the year. And the reason why it was so surprising is, like, of course, like, I knew I was going to enjoy this movie because I love Nicolas Cage, but it's because of the way that this movie was advertised, where it's labeled as a comedy, like all of it was saying how funny it is, and it is very funny. But what was so surprising to me is the amount of emotion and just this emotional story that this movie had, where in reality I feel like this story is really about like cancel culture, like the effects, and like about this man who is just getting hated on, and everyone hates him for something that he didn't do and that is out of his control. And I think that it is a great movie, and I went in knowing I was gonna have a ton of fun with it, but I didn't expect to get as much out of it as I did, with all the beautiful drama, the great comedy and horror, and it was just a very great movie. And coming in ninth place, we have No One Will Save You. This is a straight to Hulu, PG-13, basically silent film horror movie. And I feel like this movie just slid under the radar, and this movie was really good, where it's such a unique take on a horror movie. I feel like, because our main character, like, she doesn't speak, I don't think, the entire movie. And it's a movie where it's like a abduction movie with an alien horror twist, but it's just a silent film almost. Like, yes, there's sound, like, but I don't think that there's like, apparently there's only like 10 words in it. I can't even remember like a single word. And it does a great job, I feel like, of just, you get this sense of like terror and this sense of like what's going on, what's happening. And it's just this weird type of horror movie where it ends in a way where you're almost confused, but you're like terrified. And it's just a lot better than what you'd think for a straight to streaming, especially straight to Hulu horror movie. And I thought that was a big surprise and a lot better than I thought it would be. And coming in at number 8, we have Godzilla Minus One. I mean, this movie was another one where, like, it was way better than I thought it would be. And, like, I thought it was fantastic. And I think, like, it's almost better than every other movie that I have coming up. But I had higher expectations than I did for these other movies. But this is the best movie on this list. And yes, this movie is fantastic. But like I said, the main reason why it wouldn't be like number one for most surprising is because I still went into it like knowing I was gonna have a fun time, and I did. But it is truly like about the emotional story, and along with this monster movie, that just allowed me to be as surprised. But like I said, this is my favorite movie that is on this list, but I had a lot of other movies that were more surprising. And coming in sixth place, we have Nimona. This was another movie I thought that looked like a generic kids movie on Netflix, and ended up being like one of the best movies of the year, with just this such a creative movie where all the visuals are like, with just the visuals of the shapeshifter, and it's just a blast to watch, as well as there's so many different kinds of like neon lights and this stylistic comic book feely art style, which it is based on a comic book. But it's another movie where you go in, you watch the trailer, you're like, yeah, that looks fun, but you don't expect it to have as emotion as it did, as much of great characters as it did. And it's a movie that you walk out and you're just like, that was just a fantastic film. I thought that this was amazing, and just one of the best animated films of the year, and one of the best movies of the year. And coming in fifth place, we have A Million Miles Away. This is another really good biopic movie, kind of true story movie about Jose Hernandez, like the first ever Hispanic person to ever go into space. And it was a great film. I just loved seeing this, like, another kind of like character of this hopeless optimism. What in this case, it's not hopeless because it really did happen. It's a true story. But of this character is just unable to give up and just unwilling to, and his just sheer determination. It's just kind of just like great, like feel good kind of movie. It's another movie where I just thought, like, I almost put this on not wanting to watch it, and it's another movie where like I watched it and like that was just great, just a huge surprise. Coming in fourth place, we have Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. This movie was just so much fun. Like I have never played Dungeons and Dragons, and this is another movie that was in my top 10 favorite of the year, and I did not expect it at all of how fun this movie would be, as well as just how much heart this movie would have. But it's just all these like characters, and they all just feel like they all get the right amount of development. They're all just so much fun to be around. And this is a world like I just loved spending time in this world. And it's like almost the whole movie, it's like I was laughing, I was just crying. Not necessarily great. Like it's got the right amount of emotional hook to it, but it's not like drama or anything. But it's just got the right amount of everything. It's just more just like this is just so much fun. Whether it's with all these cool monsters, of course, the dragons themselves, and it's just a movie like I had really low expectations for. Another just great movie, and Hugh Grant as well, also great in this as well. It was just a ton of fun. Coming in third place, we have Leo. When I saw this, I thought that it just looked like another generic Adam Sandler animated film, Netflix lowbrow humor. And yes, there is a lot of that. But because I had such low expectations, I was able to enjoy this movie a lot more than I thought I would. And it's really at the heart, like I just didn't expect it to have as much heart as it did, where it's really just Leo and like Adam Sandler just trying to like help these people where he gets like sent home like every weekend with a different child as like the class pet. And it's just a movie you're just like, this is a lot better than I thought it would be. It's got a lot more heart. It's got a lot more charm. And I mean, Adam Sandler as a kid, I absolutely loved Adam Sandler. But then in like the recent years, like past like 10 like years, 10, 15 years, it's got kind of fallen off a little bit. And then I know a lot of people like recognize like more of his dramatic acting talent, like in Uncut Gems. But I think that this is like another movie where, and this is a musical too, where it's a movie, it has way better than you'd think it is. Like that's the whole point of this video, surprising movies. But it just has way more heart than you'd think for an animated kids film with Adam Sandler, and that's why it's at number 3. And coming in second place, we have Barbie. This movie is just a blast to watch, and like this is another movie I wouldn't say I had no interest. Like this is a movie I saw the trailers and I'm like, that definitely looks interesting, but it wasn't really a movie I was planning on watching. Like, don't care about Barbie at all. But what this movie it was just so much fun. Like the colors are just so vibrant. It's just a fun comedy movie. I know a lot of people, like, I do think it does have a great message as well. But at the end of the day, I think that, like, because I didn't want to see this movie, like, at all. I didn't care about Barbie. I don't care. And then I watched it, and I just had a blast. So, like, that's why it's at number 2. Like, this is a movie that I'm like, this looks stupid, but it ended up just being just a ton of fun. And coming in number 1, we have Air. This is another movie, like this case with all of these movies, where I didn't even really want to watch this movie. Like some of these other movies I still wanted to watch, and they were even better than I thought they'd be. But this is a movie where it made me care about stuff that I could not care less about. Like of course I know who Michael Jordan is. I know about the Air Jordans. Never worn a pair. I don't care about basketball. I don't watch basketball. I don't care about sports in general. So this is a movie that literally, for me, had nothing going for it. So yes, my expectations were extremely low, but I generally thought that this was just a great movie. Like even if you don't even like basketball, it's more of just a business movie and just filled with conversations where it's really just Matt Damon's character just going back and forth, talking to Michael Jordan's mom, who's played by Viola Davis, who is just great, and then going back to Ben Affleck, who's his boss, and they're all great. And also Ben Affleck also provides, like, this is a drama film, but he provides quite a bit of comedy. He's pretty funny in this movie as well. And this is a movie where just, like, it truly is just a feel good. Like, of course, you know how it ends. Like, of course, Michael Jordan signs with Nike. And you know how it ends, but it's like, it's just a feel good, upbeat movie that's just a blast to watch. And like I said, I couldn't care less about basketball. I don't care about shoes, but somehow it made me care. It made me care about these characters. It made me care about just people who I don't even know. So I thought this was just a great movie and definitely my biggest surprise of the year and my most surprising movie of 2023.